did Matthew Broderick make me so uncomfortable in this movie?
Which one was that?
I don't know. Why don't we start the show first before we do
Oh.
Because he saw his ass so much, probably.
It's a lot of male butts and lots of nipples.
Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast 1994. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Amy.
Hiya.
MJ.
Hello.
I Hate Critics Facebook page that Amy fails to update regularly.
Yeah.
We'll try and get the picture of MJ in their helmet up today.
I will.
Oh, yes.
I will, for sure.
MJ has a helmet.
Yeah.
It's my helmet.
You need it.
It's MJ's movie helmet. 1994 requires a helmet.
It really does.
For MJ, yeah. Because otherwise, we're going to have a few brain traumas if we don't put the helmet on you. That's true. That's just straight up true.
No, how many people are getting injured this week by the Gladiator 2 helmet that Cinemark is selling?
I mean, you're talking two of them. Because unless we get those sponges in there, it's going to perforate our...
They had to know people were putting these on their heads. They had to.
They're
Yeah.
probably like, anyone who's stupid enough to put these... And then there's Amy.
These things need to be sold with a goddamn warning.
Let me put it on. Like the minute he brought it in. Yeah.
The first thing you did was put it on your head.
I'm like, let me see it. And then he turns around and I put it on my head. My head's huge. It's just a bonk head.
I couldn't get it out of my head, but I have a lot of hair.
That's
I have
true.
a lot of hair for
Yeah.
a man.
Yeah. It's very hairy, man.
Hair on my head.
Yeah. And the podcast is brought to you by the Pontiac Fiero, which is the Matthew Broderick of cars.
Oh, God. Oh, that's not okay.
That's funny. I mean, too soon. Sure. In 1989 was like yesterday at all.
I thought you were going to say it was the sweaty, hairy man butt of
Oh,
cars.
no.
There's so much sweaty, hairy man butt in this movie. I thought...
You know what? I feel like the Pontiac Fiero would be traumatized by these men because, let's face it, these are the guys that probably drove Fieros in the 80s. But there's just so... And lots of jiggling butts beyond that. Like, it can't just sit still. It's got to move.
Why? I don't understand why they had to put that in.
No.
It was not necessary. It was just weird.
I want to be the Foley artist in this movie who had to make the noise that
We are, of course, talking about the Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller. That's right.
This is, of course, The Road to Wellville,
Mhm.
1994, starring Matthew Broderick, John Cusack, and Anthony Hopkins and Bridget Fonda.
Mhm.
It is the story, sort of, kind of Kellogg's, the backstory of the Kellogg's cereal and how it came to be.
Which is so not what I thought this movie was ever about.
Yeah, anytime anybody finds out exactly where cornflakes came from, they're always just like, what the fuck? What do you mean? What do you mean? What I mean? They were invented to keep you from masturbating. Didn't you know that?
Which I think is such a bold statement. Because I never equated the two. Like, the two were not mutually exclusive.
You would
I guess.
never think of it.
No. I am going to now.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, if you're shitting so much as these people clearly are, when would you have time to masturbate? You can't. It does work. It does work, is what I'm saying.
Well, unless you're really kinky. And in that case,
Oh, there's
Godspeed.
undoubtedly, like, part of this is fetish. Like, part of that shit was just these people engaged in a fetish for the first time and they didn't know that they were engaging in a fetish for the first time. Like, there's Alfred Goff, who plays Alfred in the Batman movies. He plays a character in this movie he's basically just discovered that electrical stimulation is his thing. Like, that's his kink. And so he just constantly loves having his genitals electrocuted. It's his thing. That's what gets him going.
I think that's so funny.
And really, like, that's the thing. Like, here's this Kellogg guy trying to convince people that this is the stuff that's going to keep you from wanting to touch yourself. And really, all he's doing is helping these people figure out what their fetish is.
I'll be honest, this movie kept me from wanting to touch myself ever. In the shower, rubbing two hands together under the water with some soap. Again, I I try to stay away from me.
MJ is so uncomfortable already.
No.
We're just
This movie did this.
this is the earliest of the podcast you've been this uncomfortable.
Was it the butts? It's the butts.
It's all of it. It's
Hey, you have to become comfortable with other people's sexuality.
no, they have to keep it in their pants.
Are you Seventh-day Adventist by any chance?
MJ loved the 1920s,
Yeah.
a time when everyone was wrapped head to toe.
See, I don't care what you wear, but I
Never
don't
nudes.
want to see what you do when you get off. I'm good.
Yeah.
You wear whatever you want, just don't involve me in your things.
Yeah, I have that
Ugh.
what's the not involuntary thoughts?
Invasive thoughts?
I have those a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm always picturing shit like that. And it hurts me very, very much. And then if anybody looks at me and if I'm making this face, which I'm scrunching up my face for effect, that's what's happening.
Do you have
I'm
an
seeing
emotional
something.
pain kink?
I think some might think I do.
Terrifying.
Could you tell me to go fuck myself? Because I get off on that feeling. Nothing better.
I'm terrified
Yeah.
now.
What is the tone of this movie? What is it supposed to be? Because it makes no sense. You've got Anthony Hopkins doing this broad farce, and then Bridget Fonda is in like some fucking like women's drama of the 1930s. She's lost a baby. Her husband doesn't is cheating on her and doesn't know how to please her sexually, and she's just that it's just very dramatic. Like his drinking and opium addiction, cost them their baby, and it's like, what the fuck are you going on about? This is a movie about people getting five colonics a day.
I just feel like
Yeah. It's such a weird shift all the time.
All the time, every scene shift.
Oh, like I said, I got whiplash a few times because some of those jump cuts are breakneck.
Yeah,
You know?
there's the subplot with Cusack and Michael Learned, and they're scam artists trying to start a business in Battle Creek and trying to come up with their own version of cornflakes.
I'd rather watch that movie, to be
And
honest
they're
with you.
really,
Yeah, that one. I thought that was kind of fun.
and so their hijinks are going on, and then suddenly they reach a point where they're struggling, and something's happening kind of dramatically bad for them, and then man-ass, just man-ass, right up close.
Real creamy white man.
And it's also there's a scene of them just eating cereal, just sitting there
Yeah.
eating cereal.
And then spitting it out.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
There was
Over and
so
over.
much cereal, and wait, where are we going? What are we doing with our lives?
Are you really asking about us three? Like, what are we doing with our lives?
Maybe. I mean, we just
Valid
watched
question.
that movie.
We're supposed to ask that question off the podcast.
Yeah.
not on
Guys,
the
what are we
podcast.
doing with our lives?
Don't want them to know we're questioning it.
Right.
Matthew
yeah.
Broderick and Bridget Fonda are a married couple who are coming to this Battle Creek Sanitarium owned by Mr. Kellogg, Anthony Hopkins. Bridget Fonda's been coming there for years for whatever reason. And she's bringing her husband for the first time because he's, like I said, fresh off of being an alcoholic and addicted to opium. And by the way, Matthew Broderick playing none of that.
No.
Playing none of that.
I got what
No.
I got was a guy who looked like he had massive anxiety. That's what
Yeah.
I thought in the
Yeah.
beginning. Okay.
That's
And
what I would
I
assume.
thought,
Yeah.
okay, the premise should be, okay, here's this super milquetoast normal guy with no real kind of personality. Who's just kind of he's your avatar going into this weird little world, and then everything that happens to him, we're supposed to laugh, at the weird situation that this guy's trapped in. And that just doesn't happen because we find out that he's been cheating on his wife and his addictions may have killed their baby. And
I feel like
he's
that
again
reveal
playing none of it.
that reveal was like a car hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not where we. And then of course it's on Tubi, so it goes right to commercial.
Yeah.
She has
Candy
this-
Crush.
yeah, Candy Crush. Right after she had this tearful moment.
Yeah.
Which I think was probably her best moment in this movie. Because at first it
guess,
started
but-
off, she was just the acting wasn't doing it
Yeah.
for me at first, and then she slowly got into a rhythm. But you need to remember too. Then there's the whole other thing with Dana Carvey in this fucking movie.
Dana Carvey plays Anthony Hopkins' adopted son, because apparently Kellogg was a virgin his entire life, because you don't want to lose any of your precious fluids.
Well, that, and also he couldn't because he had. I thought that there was a thing in there like he had
Cole Meany said something about him.
something like exposure, and then so his little,
His dick doesn't work.
his winky is not wild,
Oh my god.
as the kids say.
That's the-
Oh yes.
check
Kids.
search Winky is wild on TikTok. You'll understand.
My face pops up. No, not her. Anybody but her. This whole movie, there was a theme of, so we thought, fetishists, cultists, lots of literal shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literal shit. There's even a sign that says clean bowels lead to clean thoughts, which I'm going to put on a t-shirt for our merch.
It's a true statement.
It is.
No.
I feel
Again,
better when I
that's
poop.
another frustrating aspect of this, though, is like he was wrong about a lot of things. Like, have sex if you want to. It doesn't affect your, whatever. But he's not wrong in that colon health is one of the best things that you can do for yourself.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not a big advocate for colonics or anything like that, but keeping a healthy colon is actually really, really good for you.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we're making fun of that, but at the same time, he's not wrong about that aspect. He's wrong about a lot of other things.
Yeah. Well,
But this movie doesn't know what it's satirizing.
he comes off as a kook. And by the way, what was the accent?
I don't know.
That wasn't even like transatlantic. It sounded like he couldn't decide, and then he would slip back into Anthony Hopkins almost for a second, and then it would go right back out. And like the overpronouncing, like it bordered on Matt Berry doing a bit, you know what I mean? Because he'd even stretch words out, and
And again, yeah, it's a purely comedic performance.
Yeah.
And then you've got all these other people. Broderick doesn't know who his character
Nope.
is. He's been assigned a bunch of traits that he doesn't play. You've got Bridget Fonda certainly not knowing what she's doing here.
Nope.
I mean, this is her third year here, and suddenly she's just now finding out about all these things that are going on there and taking part in them finally. And
yeah,
what had she been taking part in previously?
like how much fun did you not have until you brought your crazy husband with you? Yeah, because I mean, think about it. Like she pretty much stays depressed and quiet through a lot of it,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she gets finger banged, and life is great.
Turns her entire life around.
Well, of course,
Of course I would,
I
yeah.
mean, why not? But I mean, okay, but it does kind of bring up that whole thing about how. Can I go on? Thank you. They say, and now in these days, sex is one of the healthiest things you can do for your body.
Mhm.
And back then, it was so, and there's still people like that in this world that are just like so put off by that idea. I think that would have been, if they would have stuck with that, I think, just like how it almost felt like there was a sex prohibition, if they would have dealt more with that, which is also the name of my new band. Sex prohibition. Sounds really hot.
It was a hell of a set at Lilith Fair.
It's just me writing lyrics on the ground with menstrual blood. You're welcome. Somebody hand me the lute.
A lute is the correct instrument for
It
that
has
band.
to be the lute. It has to be.
What about the kazoo?
Oh,
There's a backup.
can we talk about when they're sitting down for a meeting and they're like, yeah, we're going to score the film. We've got this great person in mind. And then the guy comes in and he's like, just got a sack full of kazoos. And he's like, I know what we're doing for this film. It's going to be kooky. And there are literally like 5 different kazoo songs. And I was impressed by it. I was just like, there's a lot of commitment in this movie. A lot.
Yeah, it's like, here's Bridget Fonda going, "You killed our baby." Wacky kazoo music.
I want kazoo now. I just want to play one. Like, imagine, like, see, that to me, that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like, go have an abortion, but make sure somebody's there with a kazoo to play a different thing. That's how I would have an abortion. Let's lighten the mood.
Fucking hell.
So,
God.
look, if we don't, if I don't say it,
No
someone
one
else
will.
will. Oh yeah,
I don't think anyone will.
Going back to commitment, we keep having these, and I don't think these fit at all, but they're kind of funny. These random flashbacks to when Dana Carvey's character was a young
child.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was just this defiant little prick.
Yeah.
And there's this whole scene where his Kellogg is basically saying, no, you have to learn how to pick up your coat and hang it up. And so he basically tells the nursemaid to watch him do it over and over and over until he can get it right. Take your jacket off when you get up to the top of the stairs, take it off, go back down. And the bit goes on for a bit. Again, commitment. But the funniest fucking thing is like when he finally gets told that he's done.
Like he kept going well past anything. I mean, everybody else has gone to bed.
Yeah.
He's still doing it.
Still doing it.
He waits until finally Hopkins has had enough. Kellogg's had enough, and he says, "You have to stop now and go to bed."
Yeah.
And then he just drops his jacket
Takes
on
off
the
the
floor.
coat and just defeating the whole purpose of the exercise.
Just declaring victory.
It was so funny though. Like it was such a great, like that moment, I think, is the one that I actually genuinely laughed at. I thought that was a good bit. But then we do that again,
Well, but
and it didn't work.
the kid character is way funnier than anything Dana Carvey does. Like Dana Carvey doesn't do anything funny.
Dana Carvey looks like a pedophile in this movie, or acts like a pedophile in this movie.
He's
What were
such
you
a
gonna say?
creep. Yeah.
They put a lot of backstory into a character that wasn't supposed to be all that big. I find that kind of weird.
I agree.
Because, I mean, they didn't give us any backstory on who is actually supposed to be the main character, but they give us, like, how many scenes were there? 3?
Yeah.
Three,
two or
two?
three.
2 or 3,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's at least
Scenes
two that are
of-
exactly the same. Like he does one with the jacket, and then he does another one where he's demanding meat for dinner
Meat
instead
and
of
potatoes,
vegetarian.
Yeah.
I think there was another one, too, and there, like, it's just,
when they were singing the song.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the farting scene. Yeah.
And there's a lot of backstory about this character that isn't really supposed to mean much. So that just kind of was
Yeah.
like
Lots of wasting time.
interesting choice.
But there again could have on its own been an interesting short film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that I wouldn't have minded that.
If
but
it weren't inside of this film that's supposed
Yeah.
to be about something else,
This-
yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
film is like a nutshell. And then just
Can I
lots
just
of
say
random
that
thoughts.
Alan Parker, the director, he doesn't know how to make a fart joke. Like
Yeah.
he just thinks the presentation of the fart is funny, and it's the timing of the fart that matters
Yeah.
in a good fart joke.
That's true.
Just saying. I know that sounds highly pretentious
yeah.
to talk about the proper
It's really
timing of a
important
fart
that we
joke,
Get it right, so.
but it is. Otherwise, it's just a fart, and farts in general are only kind of amusing. They're rarely ever funny.
only when Gene Belcher sings about them. That's the only time they're funny.
See, I don't really find them funny ever,
hate
unless
the
it's a
word,
little
too.
child.
That's true.
Then I'll laugh with them because they are feeling joy. And I'm like, okay, you're funny.
But
That's not funny. But
one of the best things, though, is when you're watching something, you're watching a TV show or you're watching a movie, and somebody does a fart joke that you did not see coming, and you just burst out laughing,
Yeah.
and then you realize, I can't believe I fucking laughed at that. That's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. It's happened to me more than once. I got a really big thing about shit jokes. I cannot stand it. It is
Well, I think we all are in the same
like
boat on that.
I get so grossed out by shit jokes.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was watching this movie called Hall Pass with Jason Sudeikis and Owen Wilson, and there is a disgusting fart joke in that, or shit joke in that movie. Like, it's just but it was timed and done so perfectly that I laughed instead of gagged.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm saying it's possible to do that joke. You just have to do it right.
It's like, as much as I love the movie Bridesmaids, that is the only fucking time I have to fast forward is when they eat the food and then Maya Rudolph's shitting in their dress. I
laughed
can't.
at that. I did laugh at that.
'cause everybody- they all
her
look all sweaty.
defeated face, though, when she sits
just
down
let
on the
it roll.
road in her dress. It was,
true.
she was great. In that
they were-
moment,
they
she
were-
killed.
They were all great. It's just don't shit in the sink, Melissa McCarthy. Like, there's just too much. There's
Yeah.
too much for me.
Melissa McCarthy is always taking jokes a little bit too far. Some just in her worst work. Like oftentimes, I think Melissa McCarthy, if we're off on a tangent here,
Yeah.
she curses better than any other human being
It's
on the
true.
planet.
I agree.
Her cursing in The Heat with Sandra Bullock is so perfect. It is like the perfect punctuation to her character.
I have not seen that movie. I need to see that.
I got to see that one.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Okay.
And when she's on, when she's nailing it, she's good. But then oftentimes when she starts to flail if she doesn't think the joke is working, and
Yeah.
that's when things get bad.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
It's like Dana Carvey. You know, like he do of like the Master of Disguise or whatever. Like
Oh.
when he does shit like that. And then in this movie, like is he doing a bit? I don't really know either. Like because I know he's supposed to be playing a character, but I don't. He just made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In this movie, maybe it was when he was in Bridget Fonda's in the milk bath and
He comes
starts
in
taking
and
his clothes
yeah,
off. That really
was
really
ugh.
bothered me.
yeah.
But then
He doesn't seem to be playing anything.
he doesn't. Again,
Like,
it
what
seems
did
like
he-
a character was coming up with
What did he sign up for? What was the character supposed to be?
to say the word "fuck pig."
Yeah.
I mean, like, what an own. He was like, he's a fuck pig, and I've never heard that before. I'm gonna say it all the time now. So,
That is the only redeeming quality, though.
yeah, that was it. That was it.
He just suddenly becomes part of Cusack and Michael Lerner's subplot just out of nowhere.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll join you. And
Like,
give
we
it
need
the Kellogg name because technically
We need to connect these two stories somehow, otherwise they have nothing
doesn't
to
make any
fucking do
sense.
with each other, and they're just cutting to this for no good reason.
I watched you on your phone. Were you looking up facts like the background story? To
I was looking up
this?
Ebert's review because I don't understand Roger's review. I watched the TV review. I watched him and Gene talk about it on the show, and Gene feels like us. He's like, this is terrible.
Garbage, yeah.
This is a bad movie because of a thumbs down. And then you got Roger going, this reminds me of all those diet fads growing up. I see him in the back of magazines. You see these diet things. I think that's pretty funny. Roger, you're not reviewing the movie.
Yeah. It's called
you're-
nostalgia.
You're reviewing your past, buddy. You're not reviewing the fucking movie. And he does it in his written review, too, which I was reading. He's doing the same thing. He's going on about, the stupid gadgets in the back of magazines that people would get for, their health.
The rotorector. It's a real thing.
What's the rotorector?
You literally have to stick it up your ass and turn it so you can go to the back.
Oh,
I actually have a picture of it on my Facebook.
wow.
Yeah.
That you don't want to think about stuff like this
No.
for very long. But there's an episode of The Dollop that is all about a man who he was going out on this hunting party, and he was going to be gone for a couple months, and he didn't plan for the weather. The weather was going to actually make this trip much longer. So he thought he'd be gone 2 months, but he was going to be gone about 6 months. And because he thought he was only going to be gone 2 months, he didn't think to bring with him the 2 pins, these 2 long needles that he needed to stick in the tip of his penis to allow him to piss.
Oh,
So the urine just sort of backed up months on end to the point where he just started bleeding from his legs. It's one of the most horrifying things I've ever heard. But listening to Gareth Reynolds react to it is just pricelessly. It's just one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life.
wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's horrific, but the right people can make it funny.
You're not wrong. The right people.
The right people.
Me and abortion. Amy can make a great abortion joke. Take me to parties. Go ask Amy the abortion joke. I'm telling little kids outside while I smoke a cigarette. You guys want to hear an abortion joke? Why am I'm a horrible human being.
Dark humor is it's one of the most important things in the world. If
Yeah.
you can't have a moment of darkness. I remember about the time that streaming video was really becoming a thing online in the early 2000s. We're just starting to be able to watch videos. Suddenly popped up on the internet this wonderful 80s commercial that people had long forgotten. And so it started to be passed around at parties. Just people would go, "You have to see this." And they'd hold up something for you to watch and like, the fuck am I looking at? And it's and I think you've probably heard of this. I don't think I'm going to surprise you with this. There was a diet drug in the 80s called AIDS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here, Buzz, I'll show you a picture. AIDS.
It came about before they gave the name AIDS to something else.
But the great thing is they keep saying, get AIDS.
Oh my
It's
god.
spelled AYDS.
We're going to pause and show this to MJ.
No. Well, here, I'll leave him.
I thought you might have heard of this before. It trends on TikTok
Maybe
sometimes.
I have.
Candy. And I'm not gaining weight. I'm losing weight deliciously with the aid of AIDS. The AIDS diet plan really works.
AIDS candy contains a safe and effective appetite suppressant when used as directed. Helps curb your appetite so you can lose weight. And AIDS candy has no stimulant that can make you nervous.
The plan lets you enjoy 2 aids before each meal. Delicious chocolate flavor. And I love being a size 10 again.
Lose weight deliciously with the aid of AIDS.
Everybody get AIDS. All that reminded me of was like,
God.
especially the fucking 80s where people have AIDS and literally are skinnier. That's where this just like screws up. That blows my mind.
Yeah, it's so dark.
And then
It's so
there
dark.
was a print ad that actually said, go get AIDS today. And it was something that, and you're like, wow,
Oh my god.
holy shit.
And again, they did that before AIDS was a thing.
Great. God, stop. Thank you. I don't know how to use an iPad. Clearly.
It's dark, and that is one of the darkest pieces of humor I think I've ever
I'm so
existed.
happy about getting AIDS. Like, that's crazy. Crazy. That's so funny that you brought that up. I was just thinking about that the other day, too. How funny.
So there's a place for that kind of dark humor, but this movie is not it because it doesn't know what it is.
Because it doesn't, is it
Like the Bridget
lighthearted?
Fonda,
Is it?
the Bridget Fonda stuff isn't played for jokes. Like she's playing that very seriously.
Yeah,
Even though, yeah, like you said early on, her performance is just as broad as anybody else's.
right.
Then Matthew Broderick doesn't know what he's playing because no one is assigned him. He looks perfectly healthy. He looks perfectly happy. They've done nothing to give you any indication that there's anything wrong with him.
Right.
And then he's assigned this backstory via other people's dialogue about how he was addicted to
Opium.
and he was an alcoholic, and this led to the death of their baby. And it's like, he plays none of that.
Plays none of that. He just looks like he is an anxious.
He looks like a Matthew Broderick
He
character.
does. Only with the beard. You know what I mean?
It's his character from Election. Like he's got no.
There's no, like he brings literally nothing to the table. Any actor could have taken this role on, any one of them. What else has Alan Parker done? Is it something that is he?
Have you seen The Commitments?
Love The Commitment.
He directed The Commitments.
Okay, so you do one good thing and then you suck. Oh,
He's done other things.
good for you, Alan Parker.
You've
Those
done
other things.
Yay, you
Yeah.
did
You did it.
other movie. Now, Parker is a good director.
He is a good director.
He's a good director. I don't, except his last movie was The Life of David Gale, which is one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh God,
What a piece of trash.
was that Angelina Jolie in that one?
No, it was Kevin Spacey and Laura Linney, and it's supposed to be this. So, this is gonna suck. Basically, David Gale is accused of killing his wife, and he ends up on death row. I think it's Kate Winslet shows up to interview him, and she finds out that maybe he's innocent, and so she starts this whole thing about trying to say, "Hey, we're about to execute this innocent man," but the twist is that he did kill his wife, and that they agreed to do this so he would end up on death row and get executed himself, so they could prove that the death penalty is bad.
Really?
Spoilers for this piece of fucking garbage. Worst movie of 2003.
Wow.
or 2005. It was
No, I
Three.
remember. I do remember because I remember seeing Winslet and Spacey in a movie together.
Yeah. He also directed Mississippi Burning, which is amazing.
Was that 88?
He directed Evita, which is iffy,
Oh, Madonna, you tried.
but he directed The Wall
Okay, yeah. I mean, so there that is.
and
Yeah.
Midnight Express.
You know the thing about this movie though, and it's
The guy who directed Midnight Express should not be directing a broad
you
comedy.
shouldn't.
I'm sorry. Alan, you don't have a sense of humor, sir.
No.
You
But
just
like,
don't.
what I was gonna say though is that it's a good.
He
looking-
directed Angela's Ashes. Sorry.
That's right.
Angela's Ashes is just not a movie that has a sense of humor. Sorry, go ahead. I
No,
apologize.
That's all right. I was just gonna say, it's not it's a gorgeous looking movie. Like it looks he did good direction. I didn't mind looking at this movie. I just wish it was a movie that I wanted to listen to.
Except when the asses came on screen, you're like, ah,
Just ass clapping, just
just a sort
so
assaulted
weird.
by asses.
And not only that, like
All in a row.
yeah, or like when they first, and back then, like we were talking about this too. Back then, they used to, gaslight people into thinking that they're sick. That's what brings in the money, and they would do this to all these people back then
We're still doing it today.
to
Yeah.
this day, and so he immediately almost kind of accepts that he's just got to do this. He's got to, I guess, detox or whatever it is he's there for. I don't understand. He doesn't eat much. He keeps talking about that and stuff.
He
Is
eats
that-
nothing but toast.
Nothing but, that's right. Nothing but toast.
Only eats toast.
Toast.
Man. Toast.
Toast. And not even with butter.
No, but
Demon, are you?
literally. That is horrifying.
You can't be fucked to put anything on your dry bread.
Oh, say, as someone who has celiac, did you mind watching Lara Flynn Boyle die from celiac in this movie?
Terrible.
She fucking dies.
Yeah. But you know what? I will say this. At least she went out with a good banging from Matthew Broderick.
Two of them.
Oh my, 2 good bangings.
from our heroic hero is cheating on his wife.
Well, and what's weird is that she's got this thing that is over her face that has like a little curtain. And-
Which I get the bit. Like she pulls the curtain over her face.
Because she thinks that she's so, because she does. She has a very pallid complexion.
Her face is turned basically green, I guess. Not from celiac. I don't know how that relates to her. But she doesn't even say she has celiac, so they didn't even have that then. But you mentioned it, like
Is it like green? They call it green something?
green sickness.
Green sickness.
Which,
Weird.
okay.
But she had a line of dialogue that indicated to you that
It
that's
seemed like, that it seemed like everything that she was trying. Well, back then, I bet you would die of something like that. You know what I mean? So,
well, she's
and-
probably still eating,
Well,
she's eating corncornflakes, bro.
tons of grain.
Yeah, grain.
And wheat there. So it's like, and then she just keeps going back because she keeps getting sick. Well, that's like me going to Village Inn back in the day. I'm just gonna go get more pancakes. I feel fine.
If you ignore your problems, they don't
That's,
exist.
see, I do that. That's why you drink right there. You just ignore all your problems and they don't exist.
Good God, you're the worst life coach ever.
That's why I get paid the big bucks by no one. So
Yeah, this movie's bad.
it's bad. It's again. It started off like I felt like there was some promise on the train. Like I felt like, oh, okay, this could be interesting. We love Cusack, but this was not the movie for him. He shouldn't have even been in this movie.
Well, because his character doesn't do anything or make any sense, or his plot is completely divorced from the main plot.
But he's still that guy that when he comes on screen, I'm excited that he's there. He's just Cusack. It just seems like this was just hey, yeah, let's throw our buddy Cusack in this movie. You got nothing going on? Come on over here. Cusack's like, I don't know. I'll make a shit pie out of this. Whatever.
And his character is deeply confused. He's not a scam artist, but he's part of a scam with Michael Learned's character who's taking advantage of him.
Mhm.
And he keeps kind of going along with it, but then he seems to enjoy doing it, and then he's, a full participant, and then he gets stuck with the whole thing at the end, and it's like,
so bad for him. I'm like, God, he couldn't catch a break the entire fucking movie.
but he's not playing any of
He's
that
not playing any of that, no.
until like the moment where he gets called out by Anthony Hopkins' character, which, why is this guy calling him out? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no reason for that at
No.
all.
I agree.
he barely had any reason to know that this guy existed.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny because I found myself searching my brain going, did I miss something? When he started going off on, basically saying, it was you.
There's got to be like a cut scene where like he met Michael Learned's character and
yeah.
connected this. There's got to be like a scene that was cut out of the movie or something.
Well, because I thought I was gaslighting myself. I don't know. There probably was something you were just playing your little iPad game and you didn't realize.
I don't think that was in the movie. I think they made that scene but didn't put it in the film.
Even better. I love a film that leaves me in the dark.
I
You
want
know?
to see half of the scenes. Only half.
That happens way too much.
For us, it does. It seems like every movie we watch, it keeps happening.
There's this movie called The Snowman with Michael Fassbender, where they released the film having only filmed 75% of the script.
Oh,
Okay, that's all well and fine, but did he get his cock out?
Kevin Bacon's the cock guy, not Michael
No,
Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender is definitely the cock guy. There's a whole page dedicated to him on Tumblr. It's Michael
Was it
Fassbender's
just-
cock.
Just scenes from Shame? Because Kevin Bacon does it in every movie.
He has his cock out?
All the time.
He did in Footloose. I watched that movie.
You got to watch the director's cut.
Oh, then he gets his cock out in the church. Say, we want to dance. We can go, we can go, we can go. And,
Wild Things, and like there's that movie where he was invisible before he's invisible. Yeah,
I definitely don't remember that movie.
there's a bunch of them.
I love Kevin Bacon.
It's been I should say that's been a running gag on the other podcast.
Oh, it's about Kevin Bacon's
Kevin
cock.
Bacon's dick. Yeah,
Okay, so we're going to just...
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon's dick.
Oh, I bet Jeff loves that. Jeez. Horny bastard. Yeah, so a few of my collected lines from the film.
These are actual lines from this movie.
There is beware of the demon in your stomach,
Yeah,
which as someone with celiac, beware for sure.
no doubt.
The erection is a flagpole on your grave, which again, these are merch ideas. I'm just spitballing here, but
That's the thing. These are funny,
yeah,
but they're not played funny.
not played funny at all. Poor Lara Flynn Boyle says, who would want to make love to a plate of moldy bread?
And then Matthew Broderick, I would.
I totally would. I'd stick this in anything.
He's trying to fuck everybody.
Everything. If a mattress had a hole, that's where it would go. And then finally, my favorite, flat-chested women are a danger to themselves. Like, in all of these out of context are awesome.
They're
Like,
great out of
just great.
In context. They fly by so fast and get absolutely no play or laugh.
See, that's where you get in the Lewis Black. If it weren't for my horse,
I wouldn't have spent that year in college.
Such a great line. That's why we need to be using these when we're out and about, for sure. God bless Texas.
Just walking up to flat-chested women.
Yes,
You're a danger
danger
to yourself.
Look at you. Just
Why?
push you over. Yeah.
But why, though?
Yeah. Why? Yeah, I ask myself that question. Why?
I think they'd be less of a danger to themselves because you can't get hit in the face.
No. That's a great point. But at the same time, turn that around. Now, if I fell,
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, you got.
there's my flotation device.
You're less of a danger to yourself?
And then you get like a double A girl who falls and she's going to tear her tits right off. Watch out.
You've put a lot of thought into this.
Well, somebody had to. I can't be fucked to work on the Facebook page, so I'll just think about tits all the time.
Random tits in this movie too, like just
So many random
just
tits.
randomly.
Nowhere.
Like in the first part of the film, like Matthew Broderick is going up to his room in the elevator, and he just starts imagining the nurse naked, and just
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the rest of the movie, I guess. Like I said, but he's not playing anything. Like, he's not even like giving you an indication of what it is that he's supposed to be feeling.
No, not at all.
I guess the character's like supposed to be super horny, and I don't want to like panting or anything, but like give us like a look or something. You know, what like.
I feel like they got their script like from a series of fortune cookies. Like they're just pulling out lines saying, "How would I deliver this? What's there's no sides on there, so you're just kind of making shit up, and that's why it's delivered this way."
It's the first take of everything.
Exactly.
Like just
Cut, print, we're
give
done.
us a little dart of the eyes, like back and forth, like a little conspiratorial thing, like you're looking at a naked woman, but you don't want anybody to know you're doing that.
Oh, make us interested in your movie.
Matthew, play something,
Play
man.
something. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, God, even Cameron Manheim managed to bring like she was at least interesting. Her
Yeah.
character was interesting. She knew what she was doing. She's a sex positive bitch who owns shit and it tells it like it is.
She takes Bridget Fonda's character in a completely different direction
Exactly.
than where she was, and it's like,
Yeah.
where did that come from?
Go get it, girl. I loved it.
It was so random, though.
So random.
But that's the thing. There's another bit of the framing there. It's like they've got Cole Meany's character, and then they've got this German doctor who does the fingering.
Yeah, I liked him.
But they're like treated like quacks who are like, these were just scam artists too. And it's like, is anybody good? What's wrong with sex? Then what's wrong with them having orgasms? It seems like a perfectly fine thing to do.
This movie was confused because it confused me. Should I hate sex too? Would I mind a German guy with his finger in me?
Well,
Would I?
I mean,
Well,
here's the thing, though. I mean, it does fit historically with the fact that the enemy of all men is female sexuality. And women enjoying sex, that's the biggest problem that men have.
see, this is why I spent a good 35 years of my life not enjoying it, just so I could appease the men, just so they know. God.
I had a theory, and I know this is going to be one of those weird tangents, and maybe people will this is going to upset people. I'll probably have to cut it out. But a new rule: you're still a virgin if you've never given your partner an orgasm.
I've heard
I'm
that.
free.
I've heard that before.
You heard that before?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that?
I don't remember, but I think, it might have been one of the conversations in the theater room. Actually, I can't remember now, but
Hope for the future.
Wow.
heard that from somebody.
I feel like I just took a shower after hearing that. Finally.
How many dude bros are still virgins right now because of that?
That's sad. No, because they think that they did something. They'll
Well,
always think
because
that
their
they did
partner's
something.
not kind to them and go, oh yeah, no, I really had a great time.
Yeah. Hey.
But also we've like gaslighted women into women who don't believe that the female orgasm is real. There are women out there who've never once.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, bummer. I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, it's weird what happens when you actually sit down and talk to a woman and have a conversation with her about sex that isn't about you trying to fuck her. Weirdly enough, they'll open up to you. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I find that when men are nice to me, I'm very uncomfortable. If you're not going to treat me like shit and then just talk about yourself constantly, count me out. Even better if you can throw some verbal insults at me. I love that. Makes me want to get into bed with you so fast.
He hates me the same way my father did.
Fuck you. It's so rude.
Horrifying.
So rude.
Guys, if you ever try to get Amy in bed, just drink a lot of beer, smoke some cigarettes. She'll start. That's
Hey, if you could get really high morning, noon, and night and smell like weed all the time, sign me up. Because there's nothing more attractive than you getting really stoned, trying to bed me, and then talking about yourself the entire time.
Oh my
I
God.
love it. I absolutely love it.
That is, you have a type.
I have a type, and never shall I stray. I think that's, I like, what is my kink? Emotional. I'm sorry, I know you're both on your phone.
No,
but
I'm
also
checking.
talking.
I'm checking. Just go ahead. I'm checking the movie.
I was looking at things in the movie as well.
STDs are timeless.
It's a really good picture. And there's a picture of an elderly couple, and it says STDs are timeless. And you know what? They're not lying.
Was
Because sometimes they stay with you forever.
Was it an episode of Scrubs where there was a subplot about old people? No, it was a house episode where this old lady comes in and she's like really like she's horned up and
Yeah.
it's because
Yeah.
it's because she's been fucking a lot of people. They fuck a lot at the old folks home.
Oh, they all had STDs.
Every one of them.
Good for them, Nothing that a little itch. I mean, an itch is not going to stop you from enjoying the golden years, A little cream and you're fine.
Just have as much sex as you want. It doesn't matter.
Fuck like rabbits. That's what we always tell people.
But when you commit to your wife, though, when like Matthew Broderick, when like if you're committing to one person and getting married, stay married then.
Yeah.
You made your mistake. No, or talk to each other.
You get married then. You made your mistake. So,
Exactly. That's kind of how I always my real feelings on marriage
Just-
sneaking out there.
It's kind of make it easy, Freud. No, well, but Cameron Manheim even says that too. She's like, marriage's a fucking prison. And I'm like, I've been saying this for years. And not just because no one will ask me to marry them. It's because I really feel that way. Marriage is terrifying to me.
But it's a scam. We've
an
been
absolute scam.
scammed.
Oh, you can.
I mean, you sold wedding dresses. You know
Exactly.
this is a fucking scam.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It was like the big pharma of fashion selling wedding dresses.
Pessimism in here.
Well, look, when you get to be this age,
Tell me
Okay.
why you need an $8,000 outfit to get married.
You don't.
Exactly. That's my point. It's a scam. You-
Not the entire concept of marriage is a scam, but some parts of I'm gonna get married.
Get married. I'll be there.
I won't because I don't like that. I'll call you. I'll FaceTime you when you walk down the aisle. I told you made your mistake. I gotta go.
But you don't need anybody to tell you that God said it's okay or
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
I gotta light
shit.
those candles and shit. You have to light a candle and whatever they do. They always light candles in weddings, don't they? They light candles for something or incense and frankincense.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've been to a wedding.
The last wedding I went to we all did was Megan's, right? And it was outdoors.
No, the last one we went to was
Christopher's.
Chris's.
That's right. Oh, and that was also outdoors, and it was pouring down rain.
And so we had to. Oh no, it was odd in that spot.
Yeah.
but it was still cool.
It was
Like,
really cool.
They had a good wedding,
Yeah.
and their indoor venue was really nice.
It's gorgeous.
And
Like,
look, I'm not going to tell you not to get married. I'm not going to tell you not to spend all your money on it. Go ahead. I'm just saying that it shouldn't cost nearly that much. You've been gaslit into believing that this is a necessary thing that you have to do.
Yeah, you really don't have to.
You don't have to. Just fall in love and be with somebody.
Mhm.
And if you want to have a ceremony or have a party with some friends, and the central thing is that hey, we're going to be together the rest of our lives.
Mhm.
that's valid. That I think that there's just a small amount of people that feel, or like a certain type of people that feel that way about marriage. And then there's other people that don't feel like it's that you have to spend all your money and you have to do all this and all this and all this.
And you just have like the traditionalists that still exist to this day that are like, you go to school, you graduate high school, you
Yeah.
get married. It's
Yeah.
like if you're tell her you'd marry her right out of high school all over again. It's one of my favorite MST lines.
Oh my God. I don't want to do this, but I'll have to do this.
Okay.
We have to talk about the movie Here for just a moment. The Robert Zemeckis movie, which is
Oh no.
one of the worst movies of the year. But
I was so
it's selling that whole bill of goods about marriage. Like Tom Hanks knocks up Robin Wright when they're like high schoolers, AI covered high school kids.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah,
I
it's
hate it.
awful. They don't look they're not convincing in the least bit, pretending to be high school people. So he knocks her off, and of course he's got to marry her and then give up all of his dreams and happiness,
Like you do.
like you do.
Yeah.
Because Paul Bettany had done it before, where he gave up all of his life and happiness to be with Kelly Riley and then have
Oh.
kids. And he goes to a job that he hates and stays there his entire life. And they fire him unceremoniously, like the American dream tells you.
Uh-huh. God, you're not fucking
And
wrong.
then Hanks knocks up his girlfriend, and they move in with his parents, and they live in that house because that's where the camera is, in that corner of the house.
Stays in the same place the entire time.
Stays in the
like-
same place the entire time, does not move.
Oh God, that would bore the fuck out of me.
Hanks wants to be a graphic designer. He's very excited. She wants to go to law school, Robin Wright. And of course they have a child and like, well, our dreams are over. He goes to work as a salesman. She's a stay-at-home mom and she is miserable. She's constantly going on about how unhappy she is, about how she wants their own house. And he's like, oh, we can't afford it because this, and this. We still can't afford it. There's this and this.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so fun.
Jesus.
And then, of course, the whole movie is building towards telling you, the whole fucking movie is building towards telling you that this was the happiest time in their life. When we lived in this house, it was the happiest time of my life. We just watched the movie. You were never fucking happy.
What? Because we romanticize our histories
Yeah.
every single
Well,
time.
he does.
Well,
That's all Zemeckis ever does. Just sell us bullshit nostalgia.
the thing is, the truth is, you can never go home again. That's it. That's just.
It just doesn't have to be the way he does it. That's
I
the
agree.
whole point. It's
I
like,
agree.
just don't gaslight me into thinking that like all of the 50s was just this wonderful thing that everybody wants to go back to. Fuck
Oh,
you.
yeah.
You
the
boomer
50s.
assholes.
You what?
The 50s. Wow.
Oh.
So great.
You know what?
Yeah.
Here's the great thing about the 50s. We never lived through it.
See, there was somebody, or there's like a ton of people that are talking like, oh, I belonged back in this time, or I belonged back in this time. And I'm like, bro, I couldn't go back to that.
And if you
I'm
have
illegal in that time.
Right.
Thank you very much.
if you have any friends, people of color, yeah, I don't think they probably shared that sentiment.
Literally.
God, fuck off with that.
Jim Crow laws and hotels that could turn away black people.
Oh, it's such a halcyon time,
Gosh,
right? Yeah.
wonderful. What a time for America.
Yeah, that's back when men were men and women only spoke when spoken to.
And they always voted like their husband told them to.
That's right. Whenever my husband.
When they could vote.
When they could vote. Yeah.
Right.
They probably weren't even allowed.
They didn't have their credit cards until the 70s. So, I mean, they had to use whatever allowance Papa gave them.
Oh, God.
Oh. No, I don't like any of that. Any of that.
And this is why I hate marriage.
Yes. I feel like not to bring this down, but I think I think a lot of where we are coming from too is that we came from a broken home. Our parents split up and just gave us it was such a hard time. But what was worse was when they got back together.
Oh, God.
But still,
Mis-
but they didn't remarry. They just got back together. You know, they had the divorce. To me, that's better.
They became roommates. Let's be clear.
Yeah. When you can pee with the door open and your significant other's just walking by, itching his ass and
I
farting
think
all
the
time.
magic is gone at that point.
But was it magic before? I don't think it was. I think you got knocked up. And then this is what happens.
I never forget that our family was wealthy before it was not wealthy. So it wasn't all bad for them.
It wasn't, no.
A lot of just wine-soaked nights of card games.
Oh. I romanticized that and I wasn't even there for it. They wouldn't invite me. I was only 10. Yeah.
let's see here. Let's talk about the movie Road to Wellville. On her nude scene, Cameron Manheim said, it was a mortifying experience to get naked in front of a room full of 50 people when I hadn't been naked in a room full of one person in a hell of a long time. The only way I was able to do it was by saying to myself, if we're ever going to dispel the myth that fat women aren't beautiful, then some woman is going to have to get naked and be beautiful.
There she is.
Good for her.
That's my girl.
Good
That's
for
awesome.
her.
She's the best.
Jack Nicholson was almost cast as Kellogg.
So would he have worn the horrible teeth too? The teeth were so distracting. And then when they would do close-ups on Anthony Hopkins' face, you
And
could
it,
see
yeah, the
that you
top
could,
of it, pushed out. Yeah,
with the
top
teeth, but
lip.
you could see like just spittle.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. I can't. I can't.
I couldn't stand the way he was talking.
I know it was
Uh-uh.
again. What was this voice? I kind of wish I could hear like what the actual Kellogg sounded like because I don't think it was whatever the fuck this bastardization of English language
Here's the thing.
was.
Anthony Hopkins, like Alan Parker, does not have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
He doesn't like. He was in a movie in 1980 with Bo Derek and Shirley MacLaine, and it's a romantic comedy about him. Like him and Shirley MacLaine are married. Bo Derek is one of his students. He's a teacher, and he starts having an affair with Bo Derek. And
Woody Allen write this? Kind of seems up.
Shirley MacLaine is having an affair as well, and they all end up going on vacation together because it's supposed to be progressive. But of course, we're just gonna push this all back to the husband and wife getting back together, which is what this movie does as well.
Okay.
That weirdly conservative bent that always happens in these movies. When Anthony Hopkins was asked about the movie, he's like, I don't really like playing comedy.
You know what? We know that because The Remains of the Day is still on
Oh,
in my
God.
old house. And there's not even a TV there now. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that he picks is because he is just a depressed man who is hell-bent on depressing the rest of us. His poor dad's still in the garden,
Oh,
face down.
yeah. It's so sad.
So sad.
It's so sad.
You know, what's weird when you think about stuff like this, when you think about the fact that you will never sit down and watch Remains of the Day ever again for the rest of your life. Like
It's-
seeing
wanna
it
take a
once is
nap.
yeah, it's a relief
Yeah,
knowing
to
you
know
don't have
you
to.
never
Yeah.
have to see that
You
fucking
never have
movie
to do that
again.
again.
So good.
Oh,
I'm smiling just thinking
I
of
am
never
too.
watching it again.
it's a sense of relief. Yeah, yeah.
Every time I see Hopkins, though, like, what is he playing in this movie? What is anyone? What was the instruction to the actors at any point?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that, I was just thinking about that. I think the only film I ever liked Anthony Hopkins in is probably not a popular Dracula.
Hmm.
I loved him in Dracula.
Not a popular opinion, no.
Yeah. A lot of people. I loved that Dracula though. I do. I still love it.
But what about Silence of the Lambs?
I don't like that movie.
Really, that movie's amazing.
Terrifies me. I think about,
Those two.
well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, I can't even look at a basket. Like baskets bother me, especially if they're like the gift baskets that have some shampoo and things.
That
in it.
has far more to do with Jeff. Your entire life, you're kind of sneaking up on you and going, get the she puts the lotion
on the skin. Yeah.
else she gets the hose again.
Ah.
Spoilers for Silence of the Lambs.
Spoilers. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Which is kind of like, again, that's kind of like what Kellogg's theory was.
Yeah.
Everybody gets the hose.
Everybody gets the hose.
Doesn't it amaze you that like most of the inventions that we saw in this movie, many of them are real?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like
I think we talked about it a little bit last week where he had the shit chair. We saw a little bit of it in this one where the shit chair is just this chair that rotates beneath you and it's moving you around and it's causing your bowels to loosen.
the hula chair.
The hula chair.
Yeah.
Real thing.
Real thing.
That's a real thing.
Absolutely.
Anthony Hopkins has a thing that he fills up with fluid and it looks like a rubber finger. Real thing.
Is that for enemas?
Yes.
Yes. That's right.
It's for self-applying enemas.
Wow. It's the only way to go.
What do you
I
think
don't want help getting an enema. I'm honest with you.
So there's a scene where there's like a foursome going on.
Yeah,
Cameron Manheim, Bridget Fonda, Cole Meany, and the German guy.
and the German guy.
The German guy is just digitally manipulating both Bridget Fonda and
Yeah.
Cameron Manheim. While Cole Meany, it appears that he's masturbating, but he tells Matthew Broderick that when he was
massaging his colon.
he was massaging his colon.
And Matthew Rogers like, I know where the colon is. And that, sir, was not where your colon is. It's the only time I liked Matthew Broderick because he gets unhinged right then. Like he actually did hit the naked guy. Yes, chick. That was pretty good. That was
On
pretty
the
good.
ass, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
On
We're
the ass.
describing a very funny movie.
Yeah.
And we did not watch a very funny movie. How do you make these things that happened not be funny?
Is it like a form of Stockholm syndrome for us? Like we're held captive by these movies, so we're just like, yeah, no, there are really good parts about it. Like we like now we're beholden to this.
It's funnier to describe than it is to watch. You've got to understand that.
That's true. That's true. And also, if any of us sat down and rewrote the script, it would be light years better.
Well, you got to get rid of the Cusack plot
Yep.
completely. That's got to go.
Again, like I said, I wouldn't mind that outside of this film.
Like maybe it's its own movie or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, 'cause
get-
I think he could have played that well.
Get rid of that. Get rid of the sad backstory between
Yeah.
Broderick and Fonda. Like they're a married couple. She believes in this, place that does all these colonics, and he is just this innocent who just wanders into this very strange, repressed world of Kellogg, and is our gateway into this very strange world
Yeah.
that is very funny as it is.
Yeah. We don't need the extraneous details. It could just be a fish out of water comedy. It
Yeah.
could have easily been that.
Very easily. That's what it's crying out to be.
Yeah. It's like, but then it's yelling at us saying, I didn't choose this life. It was chosen for me. And we're patting it on the head going, it's okay, Road to Wellville. We're here for you. We also hate this movie.
It's like the Cusack portion got into a Jeff Goldblum fly machine with the Matthew Broderick portion of this movie, and this
I just
this
imagine
is
like
this is the Brundlefly version of those two
oh.
movies.
See, and I'm picturing like when the guy with the chocolate's coming around the corner to the girl with the peanut butter, and then she gets his chocolate in her peanut butter.
That's a good combination, chocolate and peanut butter. This is not a good combination.
It could have been. You got your chocolate in my peanut butter. No, you got your peanut butter on my chocolate.
Cusack could have
debate.
been very funny playing one of the patients there.
He should have. He absolutely should have.
Like he's a patient who gets to hanging out with like Alfred Goff's character could have been Cusack.
Well, you know what though, too. I think if Cusack had Broderick's role, there would have been a little bit more gravity to it, and it could have been played funnier. Don't you agree?
I mean, he could have at least he'd probably tell us that he used to be an opium addict at the very least.
Let's be honest, he has the look. Like it's like we know you did drugs at one point, dude. We know. And
Because Broderick's just playing it like white bread, like just straight, very straightforward.
Just pour some water on my white bread, and let's snack on some white rice and some crackers later, and some milk. Just make it white. Is what they're saying. Oh God! What time? No. What do we? What's our movie next week?
It is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Robert De Niro.
Oh, and Julia Roberts.
Is she in that? I don't know if she's in that.
I thought, no, did she play? No, she played Mary Shelley, didn't she?
Perhaps. I'm not sure. She played Mary Riley,
Mary Riley.
which is an entirely different thing.
Well, this is going to bother me now.
Yeah, I know Kenneth Branagh. I think Kenneth Branagh directed this. That's what I know about it. I think I know about it. And he also plays Dr. Frankenstein. And Robert De Niro is the monster. He's not Frankenstein.
I've heard that many times, actually.
Helena Bonham Carter.
It is years of cultural correction by many, not me. I didn't do it. I'm not that guy who's like correcting people. Frankenstein is he's the doctor, not the monster. I've never been that guy, but I understand that guy's energy. And I appreciate the work that he did
Yeah.
because he did correct the historical record in the end. He's not wrong. He's just an asshole.
Someone had to say it's quite the cast.
Tell us.
Well, because you've got De Niro, Brana, Helena Bonham Carter. So do you know the history with Brana and Bonham Carter?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So he's married to Emma Thompson, who you know is Professor Trelawney and also in Remains the Day of the Lamb. Kenneth Branagh, and was also in he was in a Harry Potter movie, but still 2 different movies that they were in. Well, he met Helena Bonham Carter while making a film back in the day. So him and Emma, they're married. He has an affair with Helena Bonham Carter. And then he ends up leaving Emma Thompson for this girl. She was way younger than him. And so then they got together and stayed together for a bit. And then finally, and that was a whole thing too, because it was Emma Thompson talking about being friends with Helena now. Like it's totally different, and they're good friends or whatever. But imagine that. So it's like this is kind of early days of them being together. Emma's out of the picture, so I'm kind of fascinated to see how that is.
Do you think that situation is what Emma Thompson's thinking about in that scene from Love Actually, where she's listening to Joni Mitchell?
Oh, and R.I.P. Alan Rickman was in this. God, I love that movie. You can call me a sex all you want. Love Actually, I fucking love it.
Love Actually is a great movie, and if you don't like it, where's
Go
your
fucking
heart?
go. Yeah.
Where's your fucking heart?
Yep.